So Andrew, you're a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
You also have crypto.
Yep.
You also invest in different investments.
Yeah.
So for someone that's a young person coming up,
Yeah.
what is the best piece of advice you can give to them to make it to be successful?
Right. So if someone were to say to me from absolute ground zero, how to get rich?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's a good question. So I would say do two things. The first thing I would say you should do is develop a phone addiction. And you should develop a phone addiction, but you should refuse to consume content and only create content.
Genius.
So it doesn't, I will say right here, right now, I have a genuine phone addiction.
Me too.
9-10 hours a day screen time.
Me too.
I live on my phone. I'm on my phone. That's where the money is, that's where the pussy is.
Facts.
So where else am I gonna be, right? I'm on my phone. You see me, I'm always just on my phone, right? I have a phone addiction, but I'm not consuming a bunch of crap, right? I'm producing on my Twitter account. I'm constantly tweeting. Doesn't matter if it's just tweets, doesn't matter if it's TikToks, doesn't matter if it's YouTube videos. Produce.
Yep.
If you spend all those waking hours producing, eventually people will pay attention to you.
Yes.
And we live in an attention economy.
Yep.
This is the economy we now live in. It's no longer about competence like it used to be. It's not even so much, it's about attention and it's about network. It's those two things. It's who you know and it's how many people pay attention to you. So if you develop a phone addiction and you refuse to consume and you only create, you'll start to attract attention sooner or later. And when you can do that, there's usually lots of different ways to monetize it. So if someone came to me and said, I have nothing, no skills, no money, nothing, and I had to get rich, I'd say that's what you should do. You should get a phone, develop a phone addiction, and you should start to create. Look at you guys. 6 months ago, you started to create something.
Yeah.
Now here we are. Bang. You have to create things in the world we live in. You have to create things. When you create things, you'll get attention, and you can always find a way to monetize attention. Jake Paul has monetized attention.
Yes.
That's all he's done. He hasn't made his money being the best boxer. He's monetized attention. You have to find a way for people to pay attention to.
From Vine to Instagram to YouTube.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And no, that's fantastic. Bro.
Yeah, that's
I never
on
thought
money.
about that. Yeah.
And networking is very powerful because once again, you might know one thing, but your buddy over here, he's smart at investing, he's smart at,
Yeah.
like for example, I feel like most guys are very ego-driven and they think they know everything. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You're good at one thing. Let's say you're good at marketing. Your buddy's good at, finance. You put that together, you got a team now, and that makes you grow.
Yeah, and let's talk about network quickly, because I run a network on CobraTate.com. There's the War Room, which is a network of mine. So networking is extremely important for a couple of reasons. If you were in a room with ice cream experts, and all they talked about was ice cream, how to make it, how to store it, how to move it, the different flavors, the size of the cartons it's in, how much it costs to produce. If all they talked about was ice cream and you were in that room, sooner or later, when someone comes to you to ask you something about ice cream, you're gonna know the answer.
Yeah.
But you're gonna accidentally know some shit about ice cream. If you're in a room of people who only talk about money, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you need to be around people who are about it. And the problem is with any people out here, everyone has a dream, but not many people have a plan. A dream and a plan are different things. When you say to guys, do you want to be rich? Yeah, I want to be rich. How will you be rich? One day when the shit comes in. So you can have a dream with no plan. When's the last time something fantastic has ever happened on accident? When's the last time you've seen a big jacked dude and you say, hey man, how'd you get so jacked? And he goes, dunno, oops. Dunno, it just happened. No, he planned it. He went to the gym, he ate a certain way, he planned his meals, he had to make it happen. It's exactly the same with getting rich. You need a plan to get rich, right? Most people everyone out there has a dream, but very few people have a plan. Yep. If you're surrounded by people who have a plan to get rich, and you provide value to them in some way, because they're not going to drag you up if you ain't doing nothing, because that's what friendship is. Friendship is value exchange.
Yeah.
If you provide value to them, sooner or later you're going to begin to make money. Let me tell you something. When I was broke, and like I said, I have a bunch of money now. I was broke. This is not like I was broke, but from like a middle-class family. I was broke, single mother, public government housing, no car. I had to run to the gym, broke. When I was flat broke, the only of my friends I'd sit around and talk to with my friends who would talk about money. The guys who would sit and talk about video games or sit around and talk about football, I wouldn't hang around with them. I only used to sit and talk to my friends, talk about money. None of us had any money, right? But if we walked into a coffee shop and we bought coffee, we would then sit there over our coffee and analyze, how did this coffee shop make us give them our money? Because that's what's happened. We've given our money to this coffee shop. Why? Did we really want coffee? Where is it located? Is it a convenient location? Is it because of the brand of the coffee? Is it because the waitress is cute? Why are we in this particular coffee shop? Why didn't we go to that one? Why are we in this one? If we were to open up a coffee shop next door, how could we outcompete this one? What's the rent for this place? What's the margin on a cup of coffee? Everyone in here's a man. If you notice, everyone in here's a man in a business suit. Why is the person serving not a hot girl? Why is it a guy? Do they sell sandwiches? Do they sell cake? Like, start to actually think. Think about the money. And then if you do that every single time you spend money on anything, you're gonna end up realizing there's tons of gaps. There's gaps in the market everywhere. You'll start to sit there and go, you know what? I could open up a coffee shop right next door to this fucking coffee shop. Change this, this, and this, and murder this. But people don't think about it. People just give their money away all day, and it never even crosses their mind about how they were convinced to give their money away.
Yeah.
You know? Because if you want to get rich, you're not the Federal Reserve. You can't create money from the sky. You need to convince other people to give you their money. So every time you give your money away, work out why.
Yep.
You know, so you need to be surrounded by people who think this way. You need to adopt this attitude. I've always had it even when I was poor. You need to start to realize that the traditional methods of creating wealth, which are advertised to you, are a scam. The idea that you can just work really hard, save up, get a mortgage, and in 35 years pay the house off, and then you'll be rich. That's not real. That's what your parents did, right? The average cost of a house during your parents' era was like 4 times the wages or 5 times the yearly wage or something. Now it's completely out of control.
Yeah.
It's completely out of control. And patience is another thing I'll make a big point. Patience is a huge enemy to getting rich. I don't care what these Gary Vee and these dorks, because Gary Vee's a nerd. Gary Vee's a nerd, right? He may have some money, right? But if I were to grab him by his neck, hey bro, you gotta be really tough and you gotta really work hard. Shut the fuck up. Pussy. He's a bitch, right? So when all these dorks are talking about patience is what they tell the slaves to convince the slaves to keep being slaves. That's what it is. If I was in charge of the world, right, and I had a working class of slaves, which is what the working class is. I don't use that word slaves unironically, right? You're slaves, and I'll tell you why. If I can create something from thin air, and I can create unlimited amounts, and I can make you give up your life for this thing, you're my slave. If I could create dollars from thin air, unlimited amounts, and I can make you sacrifice your life.
Fiat currency.
And make you sacrifice your life for a tiny percentage of what I can create from thin air, you are my slave. Because even if you say no, I'll say, I'll give you some more. Oh, okay. Oh, here's some more of the free thing I make. Here, go do it. Go clean the streets. You're a slave, right? So the slaves, what they do to keep the slaves being slaves is they advertise patience. Don't worry. Here's what you do. You go to school, you go to college, you go to university, you get in debt, you get a mortgage, you get in more debt. You work really hard. Don't worry. Your life's shit now, but in the future it'll be good. Don't worry, a good day's coming. You might retire with a 401k. Keep working, keep going, slave. You can do it. Patience is how they trick you into keep being a slave.
Yep.
I turned myself from no money to my first million in 2 years to 30 million 3 years later. That's how fast you can make money if you're about money. If you're about it. Right? So I never believed in patience. You gotta forget the patience. You gotta forget the people who
Money
don't.
loves speed, man.
Money loves speed.
Yeah.
You gotta forget the people who aren't about money around you. It's gotta be all you think about, all you talk about. You gotta start producing. You gotta start attracting attention one way or another. And if you do all those things, you will start to make some money. But next time you're sitting with your friends, this is a challenge for every single person watching this. Next time you're sitting with your friends, unprompted, come in, sit down, and just join in the conversation. Just join in whatever they're talking about. And after about 20 seconds, sit and think, this is bullshit. This is not gonna make any of us rich. They're talking about this, that, this bitch, fucking football game, this guy. This is not gonna make any of us rich.
Yep. Nonsense.
Eureka, I am wasting my life, right? And that's what the War Room Network's about. Every single person in the War Room's a killer. We talk about a few certain subjects, and one of them is absolutely cash. I'll tell you one more thing. With the modern world we live in and this virus, blah, 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 the time to get rich is running out.
Yep.
The time to get rich is running out. Slavery is coming and you're not gonna be able to escape. I don't wanna rant, but I don't think most people realize that when they're printing all this money.
Tell them, Andrew.
When Biden is printing all this money, saying we're gonna give you a relief check, what happens when they print money from the sky is that the currency inflates,
Yes.
right? The currency is worth less, which means it's going to take more of said currency to purchase assets. This is what's going to happen.
Yep.
So the rich who own the assets, the value of their assets increase, and the poor with no assets, the ability to buy one becomes harder and harder as days go on
Yes.
because it's so much more expensive compared to their wages. The rich are literally getting richer, and the poor are literally getting poorer in real time.
Yep.
You can see it happening. And it's about to be have-nots and have-yachts up in this motherfucker. And if you're on the wrong team, what the fuck? If you're on the wrong team, you're never gonna escape.
Yeah.
These are some of the last years where a broke person can genuinely escape the matrix. You are running out of time. Forget that patience crap, right? You gotta get rich now.
Yeah.
You gotta get rich now. So I don't think a lot of people understand what's really happening. So if you don't get your act together, you're gonna have trouble. And that's what the war room's all about. And this virus has accelerated it, right? The richest people in the world have become so much richer since the start of Corona. Sorry, not Corona. What's it called? It's called
Bear bug.
Bear bug. Since the start of Bear bug. And the poorest people have had their businesses shut down. The middle class has been decimated. The rich are completely fine. You know what? During Bear bug, I traveled to 17 countries. And I traveled to 17 countries with 2 tricks. One, I have 4 passports. And this is something we teach inside the war room. We teach you how to make money. Then we teach you how to get multiple citizenships, because you can no longer trust a single government with control over your life. If you do that, you're being an amateur. You're being an amateur if you say the American government decides where I can go. You can take my American passport right now, no problem. I've got 4 more. I'm getting out. I'm getting out, right? Unless you're on Interpol top 10, the world's not as connected as you think, right? They ban a particular passport number. You can have a different passport. Imagine this. Imagine if you were extremely sexy, kickboxing world champion, caramel, gorgeous. Imagine you were to get a passport in a country, let's say, I don't know, Estonia. And then imagine you legally changed your name in said country. Now you have a perfectly legal passport in a different name. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Very interesting.
So there's a whole bunch of things you can do to put yourself beyond control of a government. And I teach this is what we teach inside the war room. Because the idea of living off-grid isn't real anymore. You can no longer live off-grid. So the only thing you can do is live on so many grids that they can't contain you. So during this bear bug, when we weren't allowed to travel, I've been to 17 countries. And I did that because I had so many passports that one of them was always permitted. And secondly, private jets. Because I'm rich. And this is the point I'm making. If you want freedom in the future, in the new world that's coming, if you want to be a free man, you need to have a bunch of passports and a bunch of money. Because it's about, like I said, have-nots and have-yachts. It's about to be people like me doing whatever we want, ignoring the rules, and the other people, oh, it's lockdown again. I guess I better go home.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Which one do you want to be? It's a serious question. Which one do you want to be? And this is what we teach in the war room. We're teaching all about residencies, multiple passports, and how to make money. So making money is a key component to freedom. And this bear bug thing has shown you how quickly they will lock you in your house.
Facts.
They will lock you up in jail in your own house.
Last year around this time, 100% lockdown. You couldn't do nothing, bro.
And if that doesn't scare you, then there's something wrong with you. Because what's scary about it is everyone listened.
Yeah.
And everyone listened because they destroyed the masculine spirit.
Boom.
Because one man can't go riot by himself. I tried. When this bear bug thing kicked off, I put it all over Twitter, all over YouTube. I tried to inspire rebellion. I moved to Sweden. I lived in Sweden for 3 months.
Oh yeah, because Sweden was still open at the
Sweden
time,
was wide open, no masks, no restrictions, perfectly normal life with a lower death rate than America. Explain that. Well, we can explain it because the numbers are fake. But I was in Sweden, running around nightclubs, sleeping with Swedish girls, putting it all over YouTube, saying, look. But everyone was, oh, I can't afford to come to Sweden. I don't have the right passport to come to Sweden. Blah, blah. That's your fault. This crap is just beginning. It was the beginning of a new age.
Yep.
And as a man, you need to prepare yourself for that. And if you're sitting there and you understand what I'm saying to you, because some people are going to listen to this right now and go, some people are going to listen and go, whatever. Some people are going to listen and go, yeah, he's right. But then in 10 minutes after this podcast finishes, go back to jerking off to Pornhub. and there's going to be a small percentage of people who go, you know what? This Tate guy knows exactly what he's talking about. I need to prepare for the new world. And if you do understand, that's when you join the war, because that's what